Close your eyes for a second and picture this. The heavy smell of sweat, gloves smacking against a worn-out bag, and in the center of it all, a man who moves like he was born in the ring. That's Adigun. Not just a boxer, but a single father who treats boxing like a mission from God. This gym, it's his temple. Every jab, every cross, every student, he pours his heart into it. And in the corner, watching like it's the greatest show on earth, is his son, Sukolmi, but everyone calls him Suky. The spark in that kid's eyes, you can tell. One day, he wants to be exactly like his dad. When the gym's quiet at night, Suky sneaks in, his little fists thudding against the heavy bag. They barely make it sway, but the fire's already lit. One night, as Swami is practicing, a loud, panicked scream cuts through the silence. He freezes for a second, then rushes toward the sound. It's coming from his father's room. Adigun is sitting up in bed, drenched in sweat, breathing hard. Another nightmare. Adigun gets up and decided to pray. The next morning, Suky asked what's on his mind. Dad, is it just a dream? Or is something bad coming? Adigun tries to smile it away, but then pulls him close, speaking so softly it's almost like the words themselves are dangerous. He feels it too. Still, he promises nothing will happen to them. Suky's grin comes back. Yeah, and if anyone tries anything here, we'll show them. Adigun chuckles, hands him lunch money, and sends him off. But Suky has other plans. That afternoon, instead of sitting in class, he slips away to watch his father fight. The atmosphere at the betting fight is electric. Men shout, money changes hands, and the crowd swells around the ring. Suky is sure of one thing. His father is too good to lose. And yet, he loses. Not just once, but convincingly. It makes no sense until we learn the truth. Adigun throws his fights on purpose. The local crime syndicate, the Aje gang, bets heavily on his matches. When he loses, they win big, and in return, they give him a small cut. If he ever defied them and won, their bets would crumble, and so would his safety. Unfortunately for Adigun, Suky has now seen this dirty little secret for himself. That night, after prayers, Suky blurts it out. His father was losing on purpose. Adigun freezes. How could his son know? Turns out Suky's been watching for a while. Adigun finally admits it. The Aje gang controls the bets. Throwing fights keeps them fed and keeps Suky in school. Winning when you're meant to lose? That's suicide. Days later, Suky slips out of school again, determined to see his father fight one more time. This time, Adigun spots him in the crowd. Something changes in his eyes. Maybe he's tired of the shame. Maybe he just wants his boy to be proud. Either way, he decides, not this time. The bell rings. One jab. Crack. Two punches. Bam. Bam. And his opponent hits the canvas. The crowd roars, but not everyone is cheering. The Aje gang sits in the shadows, their faces dark. Adigun has just signed his own death warrant. On the way home, the shadows move. Two men step out. Aje gang. The leader barely looks at Suky before turning to Adigun. Your father is not a man of his word. Then the knife flashes. Adigun drops. The world goes silent. Just like that. Suky is alone. Now orphaned, Suky is burning with anger and a need for revenge. A kind-hearted lawyer visits him, promising, I'll make sure the law takes its course. Those men will pay. But Suky isn't interested in waiting for the law. In his mind, justice is something you take with your own hands. The lawyer urges patience. Suky stays silent, but his eyes say everything. He made his own promise. Not to God, not to the law, but to himself. I'll kill them with my own hands. Quick break. If you're hooked, you already know. Hit that like button so YouTube knows you want more stories like this. Alright, back to it. The story jumps 12 years forward. Suky is now a grown man, strong, disciplined, and still deeply faithful to his Muslim upbringing. He's also a serious boxer, training daily with quiet intensity. Ever since that night, he's lived under the lawyer's roof, alongside the lawyer's pregnant wife. One evening, he catches a news interview with his benefactor. The lawyer makes a bold announcement. We have identified the leader of the Aji gang, Sledgehammer. We will bring him to justice within months. Suky's eyes narrow. He's not thinking about justice. He's thinking about revenge. He wakes, restless, and wanders into the living room. The lawyer is dead. His body lies sprawled, lifeless. Panic surges through Suky as he rushes to the bedroom. The pregnant wife is dead too. And standing in the shadows, smiling like a wolf, is Sledgehammer himself. Adigun's son, Sledge says softly, before striking. A blow to the head sends Suky into darkness. When he wakes, the room is filled with police officers. They aren't there to help. They're there to arrest him. Before he can speak, he's handcuffed, charged with the murder, and thrown into prison. They throw him into Aja prison. Weakness here? It's a death sentence. The chief warden, Marshall, doesn't waste time proving it. Earlier that morning, 3 inmates tried to escape. For the 3rd time, Marshall doesn't bother with warnings. He executes them in cold blood, right in front of the new arrivals. The message is clear. Welcome to Aja prison. Shackled and silent, Suky is marched to his cell. A senior inmate approaches, sizing him up. Follow me, the man says. Suky doesn't respond. The inmate's eyes narrow. It's either you join me, or you join them. Soon, Suky learns about the prison's brutal underground fight club. Inmates place bets on a fighter named Igbomor, who wins match after match. The senior inmate, Ijaya, breaks down Igbomor's fighting style, like a coach watching tape. Suky listens quietly, recognizing someone who understands combat. The next morning, an inmate takes his own life. The air feels heavier. Meanwhile, in the infirmary, Marshall pretends to need a checkup from Dr. Simi. The act drops when his phone rings. A senator. There's a witness to the Aji gang murders inside his prison. The witness? Suky. The order? Kill him. That night, guards drag Suky into the yard. They beat him bloody, ready to finish the job. Then his father's murder flashes in his mind. Something inside snaps. He grabs a stone and turns the fight around. When it's over, his attackers aren't getting back up. Marshall tells the senator Suky's still alive. Maybe he's worth more in the underground fights. For now, Suky's back in his cell. The next day, he's in the infirmary again. Even injured, he stands for morning prayers. Simi watches quietly. She tells him about a bird she once healed, kept instead of setting free. Her only companion here. She stopped praying. Too many unanswered pleas. Suky tells her softly, "May you never find a reason to stop." Soon after, Marshall makes it official. I own you now. If I say run, you run. If I say die, you die. He dumps Suky with his new cellmates, mattress and TV, and introduces him to the prison's boxing team. Among the inmates, the best boxer is unquestionably Igbomor. Everyone knows it, and Igbomor never misses a chance to prove he's the most respected man in the yard. But Suky, he fears no one and minds his own business. In the prison cafeteria, Suky is served a meal with the prized head of the fish. Before he can eat it, Igbomor snatches it from his plate. They serve you the head of the fish? Don't you know the head must eat the head? Igbomor laughs and eats it himself. As the prisoners eat, used boys shower Igbomor with praise, already talking about how much they'll miss him after he wins the big fighting tournament and earns his freedom. One prisoner jokes, instead of you two, to try winning a fight so Marshall can set you free. The meaning is clear. Anyone who helps Marshall win the prison's fighting tournament can potentially walk out a free man. Igbomor mocks the rest, saying they'll rot here. But Suky hears the loophole loud and clear. Freedom. Freedom means revenge. He goes to Ijaya. Teach me. Ijaya says no at first. This isn't your clean, rule-bound boxing. It's Dambe. It's no ordinary boxing. It's a traditional Hausa martial art from northern Nigeria. Suky's father was a boxer, but never a damn fighter, which is exactly why Suky needs to learn it. But the look in his eyes, it's not going away. He's not here to play. Morning in the prison yard, and while most inmates are either lazing around or doing the bare minimum, Suky's out there trying to join Marshall's elite fighting team. But Igbomor, the current star fighter, shuts him down immediately. Doesn't matter. Suky's not the type to take no as an answer. He trains alone whenever he can and gets beaten over and over. Boxing skills mean nothing in Dambe. That's when Dr. Simi notices him. She's blunt, says he's basically sold his soul, and no one who trains here ever leaves alive. Suky fires back, asking why she's still here then. She only says, it's complicated. And from her face, you can tell. It really is. Suky keeps training solo until the senior inmate named Ijaya approaches, curious. Is Suky chasing something or running from something? For vengeance, Suky says. Not for his wife or son, but for his father. Ijaya agrees to train him, but no questions allowed. They head to the prison gym. The guards try to block them, but the big boss, Babanla, waves them in. Training starts, and it's brutal. Footwork drills, punches, dodges. No wasted moves. Suky trains day and night. Babanla finally announces, in 3 months, one inmate will represent the prison in a major fight. Everyone assumes Igbomor will get it, until Suky steps forward and says, I want to fight. Babanla gives him 7 days. The fight is set. Suky versus Igbomor. The crowd mocks the newcomer, cheering wildly for Igbomor. Before the bell, Ijaya warns, don't fight with anger. Let him tire himself out, then strike. But Igbomor is done talking. Let's start. The bell rings. Igbomor rushes forward, delivering brutal, lightning-fast punches. Suky absorbs hit after hit, his face swelling. But then, the anger builds. With a sudden explosion of energy, Suky knocks Igbomor down and unleashes a barrage of devastating blows. He nearly kills him before the fight is stopped. Igbomor is rushed to the infirmary. Meanwhile, Marshall is making moves. He tells a visiting senator to bet on Suky, claiming the boy lives to fight. The senator's skeptical, but agrees to watch. Marshall shows Suky a picture of his next opponent. Someone new this time. He's already beaten Blackie, but this fight will be different. It's not just about punches and fainting anymore. This one is to the death. You must kill this opponent, Marshall says coldly, because if you don't, we are dead. The opponent steps into the ring. A fierce, dangerous fighter. At first, Suky lands the opening hit, but soon after, the tide turns. His opponent overpowers him effortlessly, pounding him to the ground. Marshall, watching from the side, begins rubbing his head nervously. The beating continues. The senator glances at Marshall and asks, "Is this your fighter?" Marshall forces a smile. He's, just warming up, sir. Just warming up. Then, from the sidelines, Ijaya yells, "Now Suky!" "Show him." The rapper can't understand what the underwear has suffered. Something in those words sparks a change in Suky. His stance shifts, his eyes sharpen. Suddenly, he is dismantling his opponent, adjusting the man's bones with crushing blows. Marshall, now confident, grabs a beer. "I told you, sir. I told you." The senator starts to see what Marshall has been talking about. But then, the opponent pulls a hidden weapon and stabs Suky. That's the last straw. The pain ignites pure rage. With one brutal counterattack, Suky kills him. Marshall is happy. The senator is happy. Ijaya is convinced of Suky's worth. But Dr. Simi, she's concerned. She treats Suky's wounds quietly, ignoring his attempts to get her attention. The inmates celebrate. Marshall throws a party. But Suky can't sleep, so he sneaks to the infirmary and finds Marshall cornering Simi again. This time, Suky reopens his wound just to get in and see her. She warns him not to do that again. He says he's just trying to help. She doesn't believe him, says he's becoming one of them. From here, Suky fights one opponent after another, destroying each with frightening efficiency. He becomes a monster in the ring. Eventually, the senator sets up the final fight, and among the spectators is a face Suky never thought he'd see again. Sledgehammer, his father's killer. If you've made it this far, you know things are about to get real. So if you're enjoying the ride, hit that like button. It helps the channel more than you think, and it makes sure you don't miss the insane final showdown. The sight shatters him. He runs to the gym, screaming. Ijaya follows, calming him down. If you keep that man in mind, you'll lose everything we've worked for. Later, you can have your revenge. But right now, focus. But Marshall has other ideas. He meets with the senator, and he was disgraced by the senator. Seeing this, he then decides he wants Suky to lose the fight. So the senator loses money and face. Suky refuses. Marshall warns him. He's God here, and Simi's freedom is on the line. To prove it, he drags Suky to the infirmary, where Simi is tied up. Win or lose, it's up to him. Fight night. Sledgehammer taunts Suky about killing his father. Suky fights with pure anger and starts losing. Marshall's loving it. The senator's ready to leave. But behind the scenes, Ijaya makes his move. He fights off the guards, frees Simi, and signals to Suky through a window. Seeing her safe, Suky's focus returns. Memories of his father flash before him. His anger sharpens into purpose. He mirrors Sledgehammer's own killing words back at him and kills him in the ring. After the match, Suky exposes Marshall's betrayal. Days later, Marshall is the one behind bars and Ijaya is the new prison marshal. Simi is free. Before she leaves, she promises to get Suky a lawyer. She waves goodbye. And for the first time in a long while, Suky smiles. And that's where we leave Suky. Blood on his hands, a smile on his face, and a future that's anything but certain. If you felt every punch in this story, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Because the next time we step into the ring, you won't want to miss it. Trust me, the fight's just getting started.